let's find out what a town NPC event is. Town NPC event, there's 7% of the counter mix of the rumor tokens will be town NPC events, and it reads as follows. If the town has a town NPC character associated with it, a random member of the posse must conduct an encounter with the individual that is specified. The NPC stats are listed in the entry for that town in the Atlas, see Brimstone Atlas. Then resolve the encounter using the rules listed under NPC encounters. If the town does not have an NPC attached to it, treat this as a special event and resolve accordingly. All right, here is the Brimstone Atlas, and we'll read what we have for Hilltown. Hilltown is a river town on the western shore of the Pichata River. It was founded back in the 1850s and has served the area as a major transportation hub for passengers and freight ever since. The town is a favorite stop for the luxurious riverboat, the River Queen, which features one of the most luxurious gambling halls in the territory. All right, there's no town NPC associated with Hilltown. If there was, the entry would be similar to Larberg's Landing, where following the description of the town in a box, you would have a NPC with his statistics listed. So Hilltown does not have one. So per their instructions, we are to treat a town NPC event that does not have a town NPC attached to it as a special event. All right, special event. A special event indicates that a member of the posse has been confronted with an unusual event. Randomly determine which member of the posse is involved in the event, then roll on the special event table to determine what has occurred and resolve it. All right. Well, we are going to roll a d6, and once again, odd will be Dakota, even will be Will McMaster. We'll find out who's involved. Whoops. Okay, we rolled even. That's a 2. So that'll be Will McMaster. And now he's going to roll a d8 to determine what the special event is. All right, I'll grab a d8, and we'll give that a roll. I think I'll move this over a little bit so you can see it a little better. Okay, we rolled a 7. It says create a new NPC and add them to the town NPC list. All right, I'm going to show you how we do that. Creation of a NPC. All right, rather than wasting time and making a lot of dice rolls, I've rolled up the character off screen. I named him Harvey Sloan. He's a bartender, male, combat of 2, maximum grit 2, range 5+, melee 4+, health 10, defense 5+, sanity 8, willpower 5+. He has a neutral alignment to the posse. He's a level 1 character, and his campaign goal is fortune. His statistics are agility 2, cunning 1, spirit 3, strength 4, lore 2, luck 4, and his initiative is 2. In the meantime, I'm going to eventually get a background for him that I'll write up, and he will be added to the town NPC list for Hilltown. And the characters may interact with him at a future time. All right, it's time for our end of day roll. We're going to be rolling a d6 and comparing that to the number of days since the last event, which is 3. So we will have a town event on a 3 or less. We rolled a 3, so there will be a town event. I'm going to get that information out and come back in a moment. Okay, we'll be rolling 2d6 and consulting the town event chart. Okay, we rolled an 8. That reads as spreading fear. Fear spreads through the town as the days grow dark and the demonic attacks more frequent. One random town location closes up shop and may not be visited for the rest of the town stay. Roll a d6 to determine, in this case it'll be a d8 to determine which location. The campsite dissipates, may no longer be used, and the hotel doubles their current rate. All right. So we're going to roll a d8. This is a large town, so we will be rolling a d8 to determine which of our locations is closing up shop. 3. Okay, so location 3, the general store, is closing its doors, and we're going to have to record that for future visits to the town. That will remain closed, although there are rules where closed shops can return. All right, so that has been closed, and the campsite has dissipated. So we're going to put an X out on the campsite, and I think what I'll do is mark that with a wound token so that we know we won't be using that for this day. And unfortunately, the price of the hotel has doubled as well. All right, and that's our next step in the resolution, is we'll have to decide if we're going to remain or leave. And unfortunately, the posse has no choice. Their supplies are still very low, and they're going to need to purchase some. So we will stay another day. This will get reset to 1 now, our days since the last event. And the posse will remain in town for another day. All right, we'll start our next day of our stay in Hilltown by drawing our daily event. Okay, the card is hanging. Town daily event. As the sun burns overhead, an outlaw is marched out to the wooden gallows in front of the courthouse. With the pull of a lever and the snap of a rope, one more soul goes to meet its maker as the crowd looks on. All heroes in town may recover 1 grit. All right, that will work out very well because both heroes currently have no grit. So that will restore 1 grit to each of our heroes. And that was a good event. Our next step is we have to select our lodging. Now, the campsite has been dissipated, so we cannot go there anymore. The heroes will have no choice but to go to the hotel at a cost of $20 apiece. And we'll deduct that from their totals. That will leave Will McMaster with $105 and Dakota with $40. All right. And the next step in the resolution is we get to visit our town locations. Now, in this case, the heroes need rations, and there's several places that they're able to purchase those at in a town. I'm going to get that sheet out, and then I will go over those with you. Rations can be purchased at the following locations in a town: General Store, Frontier Outpost, Street Market, Indian Trading Post, or the campsite. And once again, the cost on that is $5 times the number of heroes and NPCs in the party. So in this case, each of those is going to cost $15 for each ration. And also, we have to add in the fact that we're in a river town, and that has a special condition of wealthy town. We're going to have to add $10 to that as well. So that's going to be quite expensive for the posse to resupply. All right, well, I believe we're going to send Will McMaster to the street market, and Dakota is going to go to the Indian Trading Post. Both locations they will be able to purchase rations at, and we will probably attempt to purchase as much as we can. Will McMaster is at the street market. He'll make a 2d6 roll and reference that on the location event chart for that location. Okay, he rolled a 6. Hogs and horse thieves. Dark and foreboding, the back alleys of the street market stink of fish and filth. Smells like home. No event. All right, Will McMaster is going to purchase some rations for their upcoming travels to Mount La Terra. He has $105 in cash, and the price of each ration is going to be $25 a piece. That would be for three party members. That's 15. 5 times 3 is 15, plus the $10 for the wealthy town, which is an extra $10. So $25. He's going to purchase 4 rations for $100. Dakota is at the Indian Trading Post, and he will make a 2d6 roll on that location event chart. He rolled an 8. Drumming, dancing, and a bonfire. All the signs of a good time. No event. All right, Dakota has, let's see what he has available to him for cash. He has $40. Dakota will purchase one ration for $25. And that will be giving him a total of 2 rations. Will McMaster has 5, and the henchman has 1. So they should have enough supplies for their upcoming trip to Mount La Terra. Now it's time for the posse to draw a rumor token. We'll mix these up and see what we draw. Okay. We drew a City of the Ancients mission, Frozen Expedition. All right, we'll go to the campaign map and see where that appears. Okay, we're going to roll a d20 and consult the mission location table, and that will tell us where the Frozen Expedition mission will occur. All right, here's our d20 roll. We rolled a 6. Okay, a 6 is Mount La Terra. Well, we've already got a mission there, so we're going to have to re-roll that. The mission basic mission for a few Darkstone more is already at Mount La Terra. So we'll re-roll that. We rolled an 8. That'll be South Sierra Magellans. All right, that's going to be up in the northeast part of the map. And that will occur right here, South Sierra Magellans. All right. All right, we're going to make our end of day roll. Days since last event is 1, so only on a roll of a 1 will we have a town event. And we did roll a 1. All right, so we will reference the town event chart and see what happened. All right, we're going to make our town event chart roll. We'll be rolling 2d6 and consulting the town event chart. Okay, we rolled a 7. Spreading fear. Fear spreads through the town as the days grow dark and the demon attacks more frequent. One random town location closes up shop and may not be visited for the rest of the town stay. Roll a die to determine which location. The campsite dissipates, may no longer be used, and the hotel doubles their current rate. All right, so we will roll a d6 and a d8 and determine which location is going to be closed. Okay, we rolled a 1, and that is the street market. So the street market now is closed. So we've got several closings in the town. The campsite was already closed from a previous event, and now the hotel has doubled once again. Now that's $40 per person per day, so quite expensive. The last step is we are going to decide whether we'll stay in town or leave, and we are leaving. We're going to go on the road and head for Mount La Terra. I'll bring up the campaign map and show you the travel. All right, we're back at the campaign map. The posse is in Hilltown, and they're able to travel using any of the travel paths that are connected to Hilltown. They are going to be traveling towards Mount La Terra and try to undertake that first basic mission for a few Darkstone more. So they'll be traveling along that path. That is a dark brown path, which is uncharted. So this could be a little dangerous for the posse. So we're going to move them halfway between there and the waypoint. That will be their intended travel. Now we'll go to the travel board. All right, our first step is to select our travel path, which we've done. We're on that uncharted trail headed towards Mount La Terra. The next step is to select a guide. I'm going to select Dakota once again. He has 3 wounds currently. Will McMaster is carrying 5 for the moment. So we'll put Dakota as the guide, and then the Will McMaster and Emerson Wheeler are going to follow behind. The next step is to select a travel pace. We will select a normal pace. So with that, our next step is to consume supplies. And we will consume 2 rations for this travel. I'll take those from Will McMaster. That'll take him from 5 down to 3. All right, our next step is the overland travel roll. And in this case, we'll be rolling a d8. and we can apply any modifiers that will apply to this situation. The only one that does apply currently is +1 if all members are mounted. So we'll be traveling on the dark brown path, and that's going to be the most dangerous. So we'll see what we roll here. Here's our roll. We'll be adding 1 to this result. We rolled a 5. That's modified to a 6. So that will produce 2 travel hazards. We'll have to resolve 2 travel hazards. All right, we'll be making a D36 roll on the expanded travel hazard chart. We'll do that twice. And once again, the reds will be 10s and the green will be singles. Okay, here's our roll. We rolled a 25. 25, that's blood moon. In the night sky, the moon looks giant on the horizon, darker than normal and blood red. Until the end of the next adventure, all heroes are +1 spirit, and any depth event rolled while holding back the darkness adds a growing dread card to the stack instead of its normal result. All right, well, that's going to be something to overcome. All right, our next step is to roll another travel hazard and see what we get. This will be the second one. And we can't have, I have a rule in the campaign rules that we don't have the same travel hazard in the same resolution. So if we were to roll Blood Moon again, we obviously have to roll again. Here's our second roll. This time we rolled a 66. 66 is Traveler on the Road. During your travels, you encounter a stranger along the road. This result may not be re-rolled or canceled. Roll once on the chart below to see what type of stranger you have run into. Rolling on this chart also may not be re-rolled. All right, we have to roll a D6, and that will give us the result of who we encounter. We rolled a 1. It's Scarlet Shadow. Before you see it coming, the stranger draws on you, and you see his face is covered in a red bandana. Any hero in the posse that is keyword outlaw or that has 4 or more corruption points immediately loses D6 times $50, as the Scarlet Shadow robs from the corrupt to give to those in need. If none of the heroes lose gold like this, all heroes may recover up to their max grit. All right, I don't believe any of the heroes have a keyword of outlaw, and none of them possess any darkstone. I'm going to double check that right now. No, none of them have the keyword outlaw. That is very good. And they have no corruption points. So they have no corruption points, and so they are going to each recover up to max grit. That is absolutely fantastic. All right, the last step in this sequence is to heal and use abilities. We have a rule that any injured posse members can heal 1 sanity or 1 health damage on an even die roll. So anybody that has any of that wound damage can make a roll, and if they get an even result, they'll heal 1 wound or 1 sanity. We'll start with Will McMaster. He has 6 wounds right now. If he rolls an even, he'll be able to heal 1. Okay, he rolled an odd, so no help there. And then finally, Dakota, he has 3 wounds, and he will roll. He rolled also an odd, so no healing. Now we'll go back to the campaign map, and we'll see where the posse is at this point. All right, the posse has transitioned that leg of the overland travel, placing them at the waypoint. So they're 1 travel sequence away from reaching Mount La Terra. So we will undertake another travel cycle, and the posse is going to travel from the waypoint towards Mount La Terra. So we'll place their posse marker halfway, and then we will resolve that action. All right, this is the second travel cycle. We've selected our path. We're heading from the waypoint east towards Mount La Terra. I'm going to have Dakota be the guide again, and the other posse members are following behind. Our travel pace will also select as normal again, so we will need to consume 2 supplies to remain in, or 2 rations to remain in supply. I'll take those from Will McMaster, and that will leave him with 1 supply remaining. So the posse is fully supplied. And now we're going to conduct our overland travel roll. That'll be a D8 roll using the dark brown column, the most dangerous column, but we'll be adding 1 for members being mounted. So here's our roll, a D8 plus 1. We rolled a 6, that'll be modified to a 7. A 7 on that column is 1 hazard, so we've gotten pretty lucky. All right, so Dakota is going to resolve that travel hazard by rolling the D36. Red is 10s, green is 1s, and he rolls a 45. All right, travel hazard 45, bridge destroyed. The bridge across the canyon ahead has been demolished, either blown up to prevent demons from coming across, or torn apart during a skirmish. You'll have to find another way around, which will take time you don't have. When you get to town, the heroes can spend no more than 2 days there for their town stay before the start of the next adventure. I thought about that travel hazard that we had, bridge destroyed, and I think for thematic purposes I'm going to modify this a little bit. The flavor text on that says that you'll have to find another way around, which will take time you don't have. So I think rather than applying a change to the posse's next town stay, I think this would be better served by mandating that they have to take an extra travel cycle to find a way around this downed bridge. So it's definitely not in the favor of the posse, but I think from a thematic standpoint it makes sense. So what I'm going to rule is that the posse will need to take an extra travel cycle to reach Mount La Terra. And that's what we're going to resolve right now. Okay, select travel path is the first step, and we've done that. This is going to remain a uncharted trail, dark brown column. The next is to select a guide. I'm going to stick with Dakota. I'll keep him as my guide. The next step is travel pace. We'll keep that also as normal. In that case, we'll have to consume supplies. In order to remain in supply, we need to consume 2 rations. I'll take those from Dakota, and that will leave him with no rations remaining. The henchman has 1 ration, and Will McMaster has 1 ration remaining. That's it for the posse, for supplies. The next step is the overland travel roll. We'll be making a D8 roll, and we'll be able to modify that by +1 as we're all mounted, but we'll be using the most dangerous of the paths, the dark brown. So we'll be making a D8 roll +1, and this will tell us how many hazards we have to encounter. We rolled a 7, that's modified to an 8. Okay, an 8 is a 0, but it has an asterisk, and that says check for mount injury. Determine a random hero and roll a d20. See the pace table to see if the hero's mount is injured and must be put down. All right, we were traveling under a normal pace, and it says here that mount injuries will occur on a d20 roll of 1 to 3. All right, so we are going to randomly select a member of the posse, and that posse member's horse will have to be checked for a mount injury. So we'll go on a d6, 1 to 2 for Dakota, 3 to 4 for Will McMaster, and 5 to 6 for Emerson Wheeler, the henchman. Okay, here's the roll. We rolled a 6, so that will be Emerson's horse. We'll check him for a mount injury. We have to roll a d20, and on a result of 1, 2, or 3, his mount has picked up an injury and must be put down. So that would make the posse, they would not be all mounted, and therefore they would lose that +1 modifier to future travel until that mount is replaced. Okay, here's our d20 roll, and we roll a 20, so his mount is fine, no trouble there. All right, so we have resolved all the required, there were no travel hazards that were required, it was just the check for mount injury. Last step is to heal, and we will do that again with a d6 roll. All injured party members can heal 1 wound or 1 sanity on an even die roll. This is Dakota's roll. He rolled an odd, that's no help there. And then Will McMaster, he has rolled an even. He will be able to heal 1 wound. That will take him from his existing 5 wounds down to 4. All right, the posse had to endure an extra travel cycle on top of their normal travel in order to find a way around that broken bridge, and they've done that. So they have successfully arrived in Mount La Terra. They've traveled from the waypoint across that path, and they're at Mount La Terra. And in the next video, they will be undertaking their first mission in the mines. It's a basic mission called For a Few Darkstone More. Please join me for that and to see what happens to the posse members on their first mission. Thanks for viewing, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
During the posse's layover in Hilltown, Sheriff McMaster is greeted on the street by a local man named Harvey Sloan. Sloan is a bartender at the local saloon, and he has heard about the sheriff's struggle to bring the Scafford gang to justice. 6 months ago, Sloan was robbed at gunpoint by members of the gang, and he offers to pass on any information that he might uncover in the future to the sheriff. During their sojourn in Hilltown, the townspeople are racked by a spreading fear, as the news of demonic attacks in nearby areas have circulated throughout the town. As a result, the campsite has dispersed and several shopkeepers have closed the doors of their businesses and moved on. The posse is now convinced that something strange is afoot, and they have ridden east to Mount La Terra to investigate.